Have you ever opened your eyes in the middle of the night? Not because of a bad dream, but because your bladder is calling you again? You stumble half asleep to the bathroom, return to bed, and then you struggle to fall back asleep. If this sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. In fact, studies show that nearly 1 in 3 adults over the age of 30 wake up at least once or twice every night just to pee. And as we get older, the problem only becomes more common. But here's the real question. What if you could finally sleep through the night without those frustrating interruptions? Imagine how much more rested, focused, and energetic you'd feel the next morning. Stay with me, because in this video, I'll explain why this happens, when you should be concerned, and most importantly, simple, practical hacks to stop those nightly bathroom trips. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Emily Carter, and I'm here to help you understand your health in a simple, practical, and easy to apply way that you can apply to your daily life. If you've ever struggled with waking up during the night to go to the bathroom, you know how frustrating it can be. I've seen this problem countless times in my patients, and I know how much it affects sleep, mood, and overall quality of life. That's precisely why today's topic is so important. Before we dive in, I want to assure you that you're not alone and that there are solutions. In fact, there are several science-backed strategies that can help reduce those nighttime bathroom trips. And the best part? Many of them are simple adjustments you can start trying tonight. It's not about complex medical jargon, but about understanding your body and giving you the tools to regain control of your sleep. Throughout this video, I'll explain what nocturia really is, what causes it, and when. It could be a sign of something more serious. We'll also talk about how doctors typically evaluate this condition, and I'll share some of the most practical tips you can use at home. I'll even show you 3 of my favorite tricks that make a noticeable difference for many people struggling with this problem. So, if you're feeling exhausted in the morning or wondering why you can't sleep anymore, stay with me until the end of this video. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand what's going on, but you'll also have a clear plan for what you can do about it. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos where I address more common health issues and share helpful, easy-to-follow tips. Okay, let's start by laying the groundwork and understanding what this condition is really about. When we talk about waking up at night to pee, the medical term for this is nocturia. It might sound like a fancy word, but it simply means that your sleep is interrupted by the need to urinate. Now, waking up once in a while can be normalous, especially if you had a lot of water before bed. But when this starts happening regularly or multiple times every single night, it becomes more than just a minor inconvenience. It can really take a toll on your health. Think about it for a second. Sleep is the foundation of our physical and mental well-being. Without deep, uninterrupted sleep, the body doesn't repair itself properly. Hormones get out of balance, and the brain struggles to focus and process information. If you're waking up 2, 3, or even 4 times a night, you're not giving your body the rest it desperately needs. Over time, this can lead to fatigue, irritability, poor concentration, and even long-term health risks. Studies show that nocturia affects around 1 in 3 adults over 30, and the numbers climb steadily as we age. By the time people reach their 60s, nearly half of them experience it. It's so common that many people just accept it as normal. But here's something important. Just because it's common doesn't mean you should ignore it. Sleep disruption is not harmless, and nocturia can sometimes signal an underlying health issue that deserves attention. Beyond feeling tired, there are real safety concerns too. For older adults, getting up in the middle of the night increases the risk of falls and injuries. Imagine stumbling in the dark when you're half asleep. That can be dangerous. And for everyone, no matter the age, the constant interruptions in the sleep cycle put extra stress on the heart and immune system. Let me ask you this. How often do you wake up during the night to pee? Is it once in a while, or is it almost every night? And more importantly, do you feel like it's getting worse as time goes on? These are the kinds of questions worth asking yourself, because they can help you notice patterns that you might otherwise overlook. The good news is that there are explanations and solutions. Understanding why nocturia happens is the first step toward fixing it. Sometimes it's linked to simple lifestyle habits, like what you drink in the evening. Other times, it can be tied to medical conditions or even the medications you're taking. The key is figuring out which factor is at play in your situation. So, before we move into practical strategies, let's take a closer look at what nocturia really means, what causes it, and why some people are more prone to it than others. By understanding the why, you'll be better prepared to apply the right solutions. Let's start by breaking down exactly what nocturia is. The word comes from Latin, noct meaning night, and uria meaning urine. Quite literally, it describes the need to wake up at night to pass urine. But the important detail is this: it's not just about getting up once after drinking too much water before bed. Nocturia is considered a condition when these bathroom trips happen regularly and they interfere with your sleep. Doctors generally define nocturia as waking up at least once during the night to urinate, with the waking being significant enough to disturb your sleep cycle. For some people, it's just once per night, while for others, it might be 2, 3, or even more times. And here's the tricky part. Even waking up once, if it leaves you struggling to fall back asleep, can affect your health over time. Now, it's important to distinguish nocturia from frequent urination during the day, which is called frequency. The difference is that nocturia specifically happens during your sleep hours, when your body should ideally be resting. When your bladder interrupts that process, it disrupts the natural rhythm your body relies on to recharge. Here's a simple example. Imagine two people. One drinks a large glass of water before bed, wakes up once in the middle of the night, goes back to sleep easily, and feels fine in the morning. That's probably not nocturia. It's just a one-time response to extra fluid. But another person wakes up every single night 2 or 3 times, no matter how much they drink in the evening. That's much more likely to be nocturia, and it deserves attention. So, in short, nocturia isn't just a nuisance. It's a sign that something might be going on with your bladder, your sleep, or even your overall health. And to really understand it, we need to explore the most common causes. Now that we've defined nocturia, let's talk about the reasons it happens. Understanding the most common causes is key, because not all nocturia is created equal. Sometimes it's something simple that you can control. Other times, it's linked to medical conditions that require professional care. Let's break this down step by step. First, let's look at lifestyle causes. These are often the easiest to change. Drinking a lot of fluids in the evening is one of the most common triggers. Think about that tall glass of water, or a sports drink, or even a bowl of soup late at night. All of that fluid has to be processed by your kidneys, and sooner or later your bladder will signal that it's full. Caffeine is another culprit. Coffee, black tea, green tea, energy drinks, even chocolate can act as mild diuretics, which means they make your body produce more urine. On top of that, caffeine also stimulates the bladder muscle, which can make you feel like you need to go more urgently. Alcohol is another big player. It's not only a diuretic, but it also disrupts your natural sleep cycles, giving you a double reason to wake up during the night. So if you're in the habit of enjoying a late glass of wine or beer, it could be directly contributing to your bathroom trips. Now let's talk about medical causes. These are especially important to understand because they can signal an underlying issue. One very common cause in men is an enlarged prostate, also known as benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. The prostate surrounds part of the urethra, and when it enlarges with age, it presses on the bladder and makes it harder to empty completely. That leftover urine can trigger frequent urges at night. For women, hormonal changes after menopause play a role. As estrogen levels drop, bladder function and pelvic floor muscles can weaken, increasing nighttime trips. Another common medical cause is an overactive bladder. This condition means that the bladder muscles contract more often than they should, even when the bladder isn't completely full. The result is frequent urges, both day and night. Diabetes is another factor to consider. High blood sugar causes the kidneys to work harder to remove excess glucose, and in the process, they produce more urine. If someone's blood sugar is not well controlled, frequent urination, including nocturia, can be a very noticeable symptom. Heart and kidney conditions also deserve mention. When the heart doesn't pump efficiently, or when the kidneys aren't filtering properly. Fluid can build up in the body during the day, especially in the legs and ankles. At night, when you lie down, that fluid shifts back into circulation, and the kidneys work to eliminate it. leading to nighttime urination. This is why some people with swollen ankles during the day find themselves up several times at night. Similarly, certain medications can contribute. Diuretics, commonly prescribed for high blood pressure or heart conditions, are designed to increase urine output. If they're taken later in the day, the effect can spill over into the night. Let's not forget about sleep disorders, especially sleep apnea. People with untreated sleep apnea often experience nocturia because the body produces more urine when breathing is repeatedly interrupted. This is something most people don't connect to nighttime trips, but it's an important clue for doctors. There are also less common causes, like urinary tract infections or bladder infections, which can make you feel the constant urge to urinate, even if your bladder is nearly empty. In these cases, nocturia usually appears suddenly, and it's often accompanied by burning or pain. That's a situation where medical attention is needed right away. So, as you can see, nocturia has many possible causes, ranging from simple lifestyle habits to complex medical conditions. And often, more than one factor can be involved. For example, someone might drink a cup of tea at night, have borderline blood sugar issues, and also take a blood pressure pill. Together, those factors create the perfect recipe for waking up multiple times. This is why it's so important not to ignore the problem or just assume it's part of getting older. Yes, nocturia becomes more common with age, but it's not inevitable, and in many cases, it can be improved significantly. The key is identifying which cause or combination of causes is behind it for you. Now that we've covered the most common reasons, let's move into something equally important: knowing the symptoms and the warning signs that tell you when it's time to see a doctor. Alright, so now that we've talked about what nocturia is and the most common causes, let's focus on the symptoms and, more importantly, the warning signs that you should never ignore. The main symptom, of course, is waking up during the night to pee. For some people, that might happen once, while for others it might be 2, 3, or more times per night. The key thing to notice is whether this is happening regularly and whether it's interfering with your sleep. If you wake up occasionally because you drank a lot of water before bed, that's usually harmless. But if you're finding yourself awake, night after night, struggling to get good rest, that's a sign of nocturia. Another symptom is how you feel in the morning. Do you wake up groggy, irritable, or still exhausted even after spending 8 hours in bed? That's a clue that your sleep is being disrupted more than you realize. Some people also notice that they fall back asleep easily at first, but over time, those interruptions add up and leave them feeling drained throughout the day. Now, let's talk about red flags, the signs that suggest you need to see a doctor sooner rather than later. If you ever notice blood in your urine, that should be checked immediately. Pain or burning when urinating is another warning sign, often pointing to a urinary tract infection or another underlying issue. Sudden changes are also important. For example, if you normally sleep through the night but suddenly start waking up multiple times without changing your evening habits, that's worth investigating. And if your nocturia is paired with symptoms like swelling in your legs, shortness of breath, or extreme thirst, it could be linked to heart, kidney, or metabolic problems that require medical care. So here's the takeaway. Nocturia on its own is frustrating, but it's usually manageable. However, when it's paired with other warning signs, it can be a signal of something more serious. Paying attention to your body's patterns and any changes can help you catch problems early and get the right treatment. Next, let's look at how doctors typically diagnose nocturia and figure out what's really going on. So, how do doctors figure out what's behind nocturia? The process is usually straightforward, and it starts with a detailed conversation. A doctor will often begin by asking about your overall health, your daily habits, and specifically about your fluid intake. One of the most useful tools is something called a bladder or urine diary. In this diary, you write down how much you drink, what types of fluids you consume, how often you urinate during the day, and how many times you wake up at night. Even just 3 days of tracking can give your doctor a clear picture of your bladder's behavior. Next, your doctor might order some basic tests. A urinalysis is a simple test that checks for signs of infection, blood, or sugar in the urine. Blood tests can help identify conditions like diabetes, kidney problems, or imbalances that affect how your body handles fluids. Sometimes, if the symptoms suggest it, imaging tests such as an ultrasound of the bladder, kidneys, or prostate may be recommended. These are painless and can reveal if there's any physical issue contributing to nocturia. Doctors also pay attention to medications. As we mentioned earlier, certain drugs, especially diuretics, can directly lead to increased nighttime urination. Knowing when you take your medications can be just as important as what kind of medication you're on. Your doctor might adjust the timing so the effects wear off before bedtime. Another part of the evaluation is discussing sleep. If your symptoms suggest a sleep disorder like sleep apnea, your doctor may recommend a sleep study. This can help determine if interrupted breathing at night is causing your body to produce excess urine. The main point here is that diagnosing nocturia doesn't usually require anything invasive or overly complicated. It's a combination of your personal history, some basic tests, and occasionally imaging or specialized studies. And the goal is simple: to pinpoint the cause so that the right treatment can be chosen. Now that we've covered how nocturia is diagnosed, let's move on to what can actually be done about it, both in terms of medical treatment and everyday lifestyle adjustments. Now that we know how nocturia is diagnosed, let's talk about treatment and management. The good news is that there are several ways to reduce nighttime bathroom trips, and many of them start with simple lifestyle changes you can make right away. One of the first and most effective strategies is adjusting fluid intake. Doctors often recommend limiting large amounts of fluids in the 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. This doesn't mean you should dehydrate yourself, it's about timing. Drinking enough water earlier in the day keeps your body hydrated, while easing up in the evening reduces the need to urinate at night. Similarly, cutting back on caffeine and alcohol in the evening can make a huge difference. Remember, both act as diuretics and bladder irritants, which means they increase urine production and make you feel the urge more strongly. Another simple adjustment is to elevate your legs for about 30 minutes before bed. This might sound unusual, but it helps move excess fluid from your legs back into circulation while you're still awake. That way, your body processes it before you go to sleep, reducing the chance of those late-night bathroom calls. People who experience swelling in their ankles or feet during the day often find this especially helpful. Of course, sometimes lifestyle changes aren't enough, and that's when medical treatments come in. If nocturia is linked to an overactive bladder, certain medications can help relax the bladder muscle and reduce urgency. In men with an enlarged prostate, there are medications and procedures designed to improve urine flow and reduce nighttime symptoms. For individuals with diabetes, improving blood sugar control can significantly decrease nighttime urination. And if sleep apnea is the culprit, treating it with a CPAP machine can actually reduce nocturia as well. It's also worth noting that doctors sometimes adjust the timing of medications that increase urination, such as diuretics. Taking them earlier in the day allows their effect to wear off before bedtime, minimizing their impact on your sleep. The important thing to remember is that treatment isn't one size fits all. What works for one person may not work for another, because the root cause of nocturia can vary so widely. That's why a proper evaluation is so valuable. It allows your doctor to tailor a plan that matches your specific needs. So, whether it's changing evening habits, adjusting medications, or treating an underlying medical condition, there are solutions. And alongside these treatments, there are also practical hacks and preventive steps you can try at home to improve your nights even further. Let's dive into those next. We've now reviewed the causes, diagnoses, and treatment of nocturia. But before we wrap up, let's talk about something just as important: practical tips you can apply in your daily life to help prevent or reduce nighttime urination. These small adjustments can make a big difference in how well you sleep and how rested you feel in the morning. First, let's go back to fluid management. We already mentioned reducing drinks right before bed, but here's a practical approach. Try to drink the majority of your daily fluids in the morning and early afternoon. For example, if you aim for 8 glasses of water per day, make sure at least 5 or 6 of them are finished before 4 or 5 p.m. That way, your body processes most of it while you're still active. In the evening, sip only what you really need, and avoid large cups of tea, soda, or soup before bedtime. Caffeine and alcohol deserve special attention here. Caffeine is not only a diuretic, but also a stimulant, which can disturb sleep in more than one way. Switching your afternoon coffee for herbal tea or just water can help both your bladder and your sleep cycle. Alcohol, on the other hand, may make you feel drowsy at first, but it disrupts deep sleep and increases urine production. If you enjoy a drink, try to limit it to earlier in the evening and avoid it close to bedtime. Another helpful trick is to keep your legs elevated in the evening. As we explained earlier, this helps prevent fluid from pooling in the lower body. Some people even wear compression stockings during the day to reduce leg swelling, which can translate into fewer bathroom trips at night. It may feel like a small step, but it often has a big impact. Let's also talk about sleep hygiene. Creating a calm bedtime routine not only helps you fall asleep faster, but also reduces the chances of waking up for reasons other than your bladder. Make sure your bedroom is dark, quiet, and cool. Avoid screens at least 30 minutes before bed. And consider practicing relaxation techniques like deep breathing or meditation. When your body rests better, it becomes easier to manage nocturia and its effects. Diet plays a role too. Spicy foods, acidic foods like citrus, and artificial sweeteners can irritate the bladder and increase urgency. If you notice a pattern after eating certain meals, try reducing or avoiding those triggers, especially at dinner. Here's another practical idea. Keep a journal. It might sound simple, but writing down what you drink, what you eat, your sleep times, and your bathroom visits can help you and your doctor identify patterns. For example, you may discover that your worst nights happen after eating salty dinners, or that your symptoms improve when you walk more during the day. This kind of information is very valuable for tailoring solutions. Finally, prevention also means addressing the bigger picture. Regular checkups with your doctor are essential, especially if nocturia appears suddenly or worsens quickly. Sometimes it's a signal that something else is going on, like diabetes, prostate changes, or kidney problems. The earlier these conditions are detected, the easier they are to manage. Don't wait until sleep disruption takes a serious toll. Bring it up with your healthcare provider. To summarize, prevention and self-care strategies include drinking most fluids earlier in the day, limiting caffeine and alcohol, elevating your legs in the evening, practicing good sleep hygiene, being mindful of bladder-irritating foods, and keeping track of your habits in a simple diary, combined with medical treatment when needed. These steps can significantly reduce nocturia and improve your overall quality of life. So, remember, good sleep is not just about resting. It's about giving your body the chance to repair and recharge. And with a few mindful changes, you can take control of your nights and wake up feeling ready for the day ahead. Before we wrap up, let's take a few minutes to address some common myths and frequently asked questions about nocturia. Understanding what's true and what's not can save you a lot of unnecessary worry and help you focus on effective solutions. First, a very common myth. Waking up at night to pee is just a normal part of aging. While it's true that nocturia becomes more common as we get older, it is not something you just have to accept. Many older adults are able to sleep through the night by making simple lifestyle adjustments and addressing underlying medical issues. Aging may increase the risk, but it doesn't mean constant nighttime trips are inevitable. Another misconception is, I should just drink less water at night and ignore hydration. This is dangerous advice. Staying hydrated is essential for your body, and drastically reducing fluids can actually worsen health in the long run. The key is timing your intake so that most fluids are consumed earlier in the day, not avoiding water altogether. Now, let's cover some frequently asked questions. One question I hear often is, does nocturia mean I have kidney disease? Not necessarily. While kidney problems can cause increased urination, nocturia is much more commonly related to lifestyle habits, bladder changes, or other medical conditions like diabetes, heart issues, or an enlarged prostate. That's why it's so important to get a proper evaluation if you notice a sudden change. Another common question is, can exercises help my bladder control? Absolutely. Pelvic floor exercises, sometimes called Kegel exercises, can strengthen the muscles that support the bladder and help reduce urgency. For men and women alike, these exercises are simple, non-invasive, and can be done anywhere. Consistency is key. You'll see the best results over time. People also ask, is nocturia only a problem for older adults? As we mentioned, it is more common with age, but younger adults can experience it too. Stress, sleep disorders, high caffeine or alcohol intake, or certain medications can all contribute, even in people in their 20s or 30s. Finally, many viewers ask, are there quick hacks I can try tonight to sleep better? Yes, and we covered them in the previous section. Limit evening fluids, avoid caffeine and alcohol, elevate your legs, and maintain a calm bedtime routine. Even small adjustments can make a noticeable difference, especially when combined with other strategies. The main takeaway from this section is simple. Don't fall for myths, don't panic, and focus on practical, evidence-based steps. Understanding nocturia and addressing the right causes empowers you to take control of your nights. By separating fact from fiction and implementing these strategies, you'll give yourself a real chance at better sleep and more energy during the day. With the myths debunked and the FAQs answered, we're ready to summarize the key points and close the video with actionable takeaways. Let's take a moment to recap the key points we've covered today about nocturia, or waking up at night to urinate. First and foremost, understanding the cause is essential. Not every nighttime trip to the bathroom is the same, and the underlying reason can vary from lifestyle factors, like drinking late in the evening, to medical conditions such as an overactive bladder, enlarged prostate, or uncontrolled diabetes. By identifying the root cause, you can choose the right approach to manage it effectively. Second, we talked about practical strategies that make a real difference. Simple adjustments like limiting evening fluids, reducing caffeine and alcohol, elevating your legs, practicing good sleep hygiene, and paying attention to diet can all help. Keeping a diary of your habits and bathroom visits can also provide valuable insight for you and your doctor. Even small changes, when done consistently, can significantly reduce the number of times you wake up at night. Third, don't ignore warning signs. While nocturia is often manageable, sudden changes, pain, blood in the urine, or other concerning symptoms should prompt a visit to your healthcare provider. Early detection of any underlying medical issue not only improves your sleep, but also protects your overall health. In addition, we busted some common myths and answered frequently asked questions. Remember, nocturia is not something you just have to accept as a normal part of aging, and drinking less water is not a solution. Understanding the facts empowers you to take practical, safe steps toward better nights and more restful sleep. So, what's the big picture takeaway? Nocturia can be frustrating, but it's not hopeless. With awareness, small lifestyle adjustments, and professional guidance when needed, you can significantly reduce nighttime trips to the bathroom and improve your overall quality of life. Your body and mind function best when you get uninterrupted sleep, and taking control of nocturia is a powerful way to support both. As you start implementing these strategies, pay attention to what works for you. Everyone's body is different, so some techniques may have more impact than others. The important thing is to take action, track your progress, and make adjustments as necessary. By doing so, you'll be giving yourself the chance to wake up feeling rested, energized, and ready to tackle the day ahead. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. I hope this information about nocturia has been helpful, and that you now feel more confident in understanding why you wake up at night to urinate and what you can do about it. Remember that small changes can make a big difference, and taking control of your nights is entirely possible. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. By subscribing, you'll receive more videos where we explore common health issues, share practical tips, and explain medical topics in a way that's easy to understand and apply to your daily life. Don't forget to activate the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. I'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you tried any strategies to reduce nighttime bathroom trips? Which ones worked for you? Or do you have questions about your own situation? Sharing your experiences not only helps me create content tailored to your needs, but also creates a supportive community where we can all learn from each other. Finally, a very important note. This content is for educational purposes only and does not substitute for professional medical advice. If you have concerns about your health, or if your nocturia is persistent, severe, or accompanied by alarming symptoms such as pain, blood in the urine, or bloating, seek evaluation from a qualified healthcare professional. Personalized guidance is essential, as everybody is different and what works for one person may not work for another. Thank you again for taking the time to share your thoughts with me. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, and I'm here to help you understand your health in a clear, practical, and comprehensive way. Take these tips, apply them at your own pace, and remember, better sleep is possible, and you have the tools to achieve it. Have sweet dreams, and I'll see you in the next video.